This is a tricky one, and it's no shade to the original creator. I want to talk more about the mentality than addressing her. So, disclaimer.
What's good, you all, and welcome on today's episode. How are you guys doing? I hope you all are doing great. And if you are joining for the very first time, thank you so much for tuning in. I have a video of a creator that sparked a very serious and interesting conversation, especially for Black women. She talked about how Black women are underrepresented, and if at all we want to, pick Black women to represent Black people, this should be the criteria, this should be what should be standard in order to say this Black woman is representing the Black community. Our video went viral. There are people who are not agreeing with what she said, and there are people saying she's patronizing, her tone is not good and stuff like that. I'm going to roll the clip so that you guys can listen to what she has to say and as well pay attention to her tone and how she delivered the message.
So you know how Black women are underrepresented? I'm at the point now where unless she's wearing her natural hair, I do not feel represented by her. You're not representing me. You're not representing our beauty. You're not emulating your own beauty. So it's not really good enough. It's not what I want. I don't want to see Black women endlessly assimilate and then act like they're representing me in media. No, you aren't. I'm getting so tired of it. I keep thinking that Black women are going to get a better hold of their self-identity, and then we keep insisting for the ongoing assimilation of our features. I'm just tired of all the excuses to continue to allow the future generations of Black women to feel like they have to change themselves. Oh, I want to do whatever I want to do, but you were told to want that. OMG, Black is beautiful, but I never wear my natural hair. OMG, Black is beautiful, but I bleach my skin and I stay away from the sun. OMG, Black is beautiful, but I wear colored eye contacts all the time for absolutely no reason. OMG, Black is beautiful, but I just want a different look. I just want to look different. OMG, Black is so beautiful, but I'm not going to take the time to learn how to do my hair because honestly, I don't think it looks as good. Black is beautiful, but straight hair just suits me better. Black is beautiful, but coily hair is too hard to do. It's high maintenance. It's annoying. Black is beautiful, but I honestly just feel like my hair is a curse. OMG, Black is beautiful, but I'll only wear a loose curly wig. I will never ever actually touch my real hair. You need help. You need intensive racial therapy.
What do you guys think about our video, and what do you guys think about the tone of our video? Those are two different clips that was uploaded. I put them together because they still cover the same conversation and people are stitching either of the two. And I don't think the very first part of that video, I don't see anything wrong in her tone. Maybe the second one, maybe it's a bit hard for some people to actually, agree with her on that because of her tone. Because I think that's the one that I saw a lot of comments of people actually talking about her tone. I don't think her tone is that bad. Putting it in an example of how people have conversation when they want to maybe give her an excuse of the reason why they can't wear their natural hair. But one of the things that people are saying is, do we need to actually put Black women in a box in order for them to be able to represent? What you have on your hair, does that determine if you are actually a Black or not? And I think there was a part where she was saying, oh, you're running away from excuses to be able to make your own hair, you need help. I think that's the part that I'm like, not everybody will be able to make their hair by themselves. Some people actually struggle with that real bad. But before I start showing you guys some of the comments that I was able to find as well, let's roll the clip and let's see what people are saying about our video.
So you know how Black women are underrepresented? I'm at the point now.
This is a tricky one, and it's no shade to the original creator. I want to talk more about the mentality than addressing her. So, disclaimer. The whole Afrocentrism and return to self, this whole bring back our girls type, ooh, I don't want to do that. In the video, she mentioned that when she sees Black women with the 40-inch bust down, I'm paraphrasing, and, beauty identifiers on them that are not associated with Afrocentrism, that she feels like these people do not speak for her, they do not represent Black women, and that's valid. But I want to take it a step further and say that beauty on a Black person is always going to be Black beauty and representative of Black culture. And by giving the power away to say like, oh, you're trying to be someone else, you're trying to do something else, that's kind of like the vibe where people get mad at Black people, men and women, for having like blonde hair, where it's just for the look and the effect and it looks amazing on us, you know? It doesn't make you less Black. I think there are behaviors that are anti-Black that might manifest in beauty. You might be doing something to yourself, manipulating your features somehow in an effort to be anti-Black, even if it's only to yourself or to distance yourself from the Black community. And we can discuss that. But even in that circumstance, that is still a very Black experience and representative of a Black struggle. I hope I'm making sense. Like, it's never going to be not Black. Even the trauma and the pain is still owned by like the Black community and represents the Black community. So to say like, oh, you don't represent me, and this is a person that in a lot of ways we could say codes as non-Black in the speech, it brings us to like, what does it mean to be Black? It's one of my favorite conversations to have on here, but I'm like, the same could be said like, if you don't speak Ebonics, you're not Black enough for me. If you don't have your hair in like just braids or like shaved or an afro, you're not Black enough for me. If you're not this dark, you're not Black enough for me, and you don't speak for me, which is truly how some people feel. Me personally, every time these people come out talking about some, oh, my great grandmother was Black, I'm like, you're not Black. You know what I mean? Like, stop talking to me, get out of my face. I feel like she's saying that about the beauty aspect, and I respect it, but I also feel like, just like with my own personal biases, it's a slippery slope of like, well, what is Blackness? It's just a thing to think about. But yeah, the 40-inch bust down, baby, that's always gonna be a Black look. And also, there's power in assimilation for survival. Like, that's resistance, that's radical. And I'm gonna stand on that. Like, assimilation is radical if it leads to your survival. Period.
First off, I just think this is so condescending. Second off, I don't understand why it's always Black women's Blackness that is always being questioned. I think it's a weird take to think that just because you don't wear your natural hair all the time, that you don't find Blackness beautiful. And also, Blackness can be expressed in many different ways. I would argue that any way that a Black woman wears her hair is a performance of Blackness. Like, when you think of lace fronts, you think of Black women. But I do think it is a conversation that we do need to have about natural hair, because the whole debate that braids aren't like a birthday hairstyle, like, that is something that we do need to talk about. And yes, natural hair does need to be normalized, but that doesn't mean that any hairstyle outside of natural hair is rejecting Blackness. There was another video where this creator was talking about how they don't feel represented by most Black women in the media, and that is because they wear wigs and they don't wear their natural hair. But when people brought up people like Megan Thee Stallion, they're like, oh, well, she still doesn't represent me because she wears wigs and she doesn't always wear her natural hair out. Even though Megan does wear wigs, sometimes she wears natural wigs and sometimes she does wear her natural hair out. I don't think that this approach of being like, oh, well, you don't love Black people if you don't wear your natural hair, I don't think that's a good approach to talk about a very important conversation that we do need to have in our community. Because no one is any less of a Black person if they don't wear their natural hair. The color contacts and the skin bleaching, of course, that is something that is like, you know? But I don't understand why wanting a different look or a different hairstyle or a different color is rejecting Blackness. This kind of like reminds me of like the way that people are like, oh, if you date outside your race, you're not pro-Black, or like some people might look at you weird if you don't speak in AAVE. I think there's multiple ways to express Blackness, but no matter what we do, it will be an expression of our Blackness because we're Black. I just think that there are healthier and more open ways to have a conversation like this than to be accusatory and like point fingers and be like, you don't actually support Black people since you don't do this.
OMG, Black is beautiful, but I never wear my natural hair.
So I just want to say that I am very much on board with the conversation that she's trying to create right now. But I do want to say this, and this, by the way, is not directed at her personally. This is just something I want to add. We are all at different spots on the road, on the journey. Okay. And when it comes to self-acceptance and self-esteem and self-confidence, especially as a Black woman, especially when it comes to your features, your skin tone, your hair texture, all of these things that are so politicized, we're all in different spots on the road when it comes to the journey of self-acceptance. And sometimes these conversations, although they are presented in good faith and meant to be like inspirational and motivating for positive change, sometimes they can come across as judgmental or sometimes out and out bullying people into self-acceptance. And that's not what we want. And for a lot of people, these are really tough conversations to have. And I just think we should be mindful.
Okay, so I saw this video this morning, and I'm going to be on here for a while trying to explain everything that I'm explaining because it is nuanced and it's deep, and I need to just take the time to really say everything I need to say. So I watched that video, and while the girl did make points, there's been videos responding to her where they rightfully call her out for her condescending tone, and people were like, oh, you're tone policing, tone policing, tone policing. First of all, tone policing was for white people talking to Black people about racism, and white people, like men talking to women about sexism. It was not about very specific conversations between Black people, and specifically in this case, Black women. I am so tired of the fact that Black women are never allowed grace, even from other Black women. I'm going to be so honest. This from a woman who, I prefer braids. I prefer natural styles. Like, this is my favorite hairstyle in the world to wear. As a Black woman, if you are aware of how society demeans and devalues Black women for generations, internalized racism, colorism, all these things that Black women are thrown at, you know how much harm that does to somebody, can do to someone mentally and emotionally. It is not easy to undo those things. It takes a lot of hard work and it takes time. So for you to push a message that we should push messages that encourages Black women to embrace natural beauty in their natural selves, but we can do it without being condescending and coming up on a pedestal because you've gotten to a point in your healing or your Black woman journey where that is normal to you. And you can talk to other Black women about that while still having grace. Because I think a lot of the issues a lot of people have with that video, including me, is not the message, it's the lack of grace. It's the lack of kindness from a Black woman to other Black women, especially because she's not the darkest that Black women come from. Her hair texture, while it's not 3A, it's not as 4A or 4B a lot of Black women, and we need to stop pretending like it's easy to unlearn those things. It takes time, it takes work, it takes healing, and we can preach messages without being condescending. And we as Black women need to have grace for other Black women, because oftentimes Black women don't even have grace for ourselves. We know the world doesn't have grace for us. We don't have grace for ourselves. Let's have grace for ourselves and each other. It really needs to happen.
Black is so beautiful, but I'm not going to take the time to learn how to do my hair.
I'm so annoyed because I just recorded a whole stitch to this and I don't know where it went. But anyways, you can't stitch a stitch, so I don't actually want to talk about that video. I want to talk about a stitch that I saw to that video. Ignore this. I bust my lip last night. But essentially the other creator was saying that she is right, this original video, she's right because it's similar to makeup. And if you think about makeup, then we can all agree that if you only feel good when you're wearing makeup, then you have an insecurity or you don't like the way you look. And the only couple reasons that you would be wearing makeup is to enhance the features that you already have or to change those features. And while what that creator was saying makes sense on its face, I think the element that you have to consider, which makes it difficult to agree with, is the amount of effort you're putting in. So in my mind, makeup is a more effort type of thing. You have to take the time to learn how to do it well, and do it on a consistent basis. If you're going to wear makeup every day, you have to get up and do that makeup every day, unless you're always sleeping in makeup, and then I don't know nothing about that. But when it comes to hair, a lot of us are on that high maintenance to be low maintenance kick, right? Having a protective style or getting a sew-in or getting a silk press is the difference between me sitting to do my hair 3 to 5 hours once every 4 to 8 weeks, and me sitting 3 hours to do my hair every single week. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't have the time, the patience, the energy, any of those things to be doing my hair for 3 hours at a time every single week. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not interested in that. And it is not going to produce the outcome that I'm looking for in terms of what I look like when I step outside my house. My goal is to look nice and presentable at all times. So at this point, I have come up with a list of hairstyles that I'm going to do for the rest of the year. Some of them are protective styles. Some of them are my natural hair. But my hair will not be natural for the majority of the rest of the year because I just don't have the time to wear my natural hair and look presentable at the same time. Unless you're going to pay for me to go to the natural hair salon every week. Otherwise, I can't do it. And honestly, I love my curls. Like, I really do. I love the way that my curls look, especially when they're freshly done. It really just does come down to the amount of time that I'm spending doing my hair. And sure, I'm sure if you talk to a natural hair influencer, they will tell you that you can make it faster. There's a trick, there's a hack, there's a this, there's a that. I got time for none of that. Like, I'm just going to be honest. Hair's not my thing. So I'm going to do what is convenient for me, my lifestyle, and my goals. And I think we don't need to insinuate that people hate themselves because they're trying to do what is convenient for their life and their goals.
OMG, Blâck is beautiful, but I never wear my natural hair. OMG, Blâck is beautiful.
So hey y'all, I'm a black woman with my natural hair, and I just wanted to speak on reference to this video. I fully understand where sis coming from, and I fully understand the tone that she used and why she used that tone. One thing I'm gonna say about black women as a whole, we don't give each other enough grace. Even women that's been commenting on this video have not given her grace because they trying to tone police the girl and say she using a condescending tone. She might be using a condescending tone, but if you really good at using critical thinking and really good at just common context clues, you will understand why she's using the tone. She's using that tone because that is the type of attitude that a lot of some black women carry when they decide they don't want to wear their natural hair. And the excuses they give themselves in society as to why they would prefer Eurocentric looks to their natural beauty. And melanin absolutely is beautiful.
What do you guys think about what all these teachers said? I love every single thing that they said. I love how, according to the comments and some of the things that were said, that a video lacks kindness, it lacks grace. I love how they stitched to our video in kindness and gave us so much grace, and I think that is the best way to approach situation, especially situations or topics like this. I love how the woman on braids, I love everything she said, because whatever way women choose to make their hair or do their hair should not take away from their blackness, because they are already black, and we all know what so many women have had to go through because of their hair, and not everyone has been able to get to that point that she is, to finally accept and say this is what they want to do now, and let's not act like it's so easy to heal from those trauma. I love everything that creator said. Shout out to her. I love all of her points, and as well to the very first guy that stitched the video. I love his point as well, because people do these things for several reasons. Some people just do it for a change of look. Some people do it because it looks good on them and for vibes. I don't think that because they decided not to be wearing their natural hair every single time means that they are not black or they cannot represent black. I feel like I agree to the statement of giving black women grace, especially because there are some people that cannot even deal with their hair. Like, it's so hard for them. Not everybody will be able to get away and just do it by themselves. Let's not act like there are no people out there that can actually not make their hair, not even make it on someone else's head, because I know it can be difficult to make it on your own head, but you can still make it on other people's head. But there are some people who cannot undo hair whatsoever, and it's not like they don't want to learn. What are you going to say to them? What are you going to say to someone who probably changed their wig because of maybe how their hair is being addressed, maybe at a place of work, or maybe some of the things that is being said to them because of the environment they are in, and they just decided to maybe wear a wig. I don't think wearing a wig for a black woman is taken away from what blackness is, but the bleaching part, we can agree that is bad, very, very bad. But I don't think whatever way a woman chooses to wear their hair should take away from their blackness. This comment said, How someone chooses to wear their hair doesn't take away from the shared experience, and rarely does someone have it any easy because they are Black. Another person said, I feel you. The marker for what is Black moves around too much for me. It seems like we can't come to a consensus on what this representation is for us. And this is what the very first guy that stitched the video was talking about. Like, what is Blackness? What does Black means to you? What is the representation of Black for you? Like, are you saying, okay, if you're making nails as well, you're not Black? Are you saying if you're fixing eyelashes, if you're laminating your brows, are you saying you're not Black? Does that take away from your Blackness? Another person said, the war is assimilating versus Afrocentric argument has always bothered me because who gets to be natural is very political. Last one I have here says, I understand that point, but it seems like they are wanting to fit Blackness into just one mode. That is just not possible. Exactly. It's not possible because we are all on different journey. Everyone's journey is different. Not everyone will be able to get to that level of self-acceptance. And even if you wear your wig or if you wear whatever wig, doesn't mean you're not accepting who you are. Like, it does not mean, because I've seen wigs that are actually a replica of a Black hair, like the texture looks like a Black hair, and people still wear it. What are you going to say about that? So let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Share your thoughts. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. Thank you all so much for joining, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe before you go and turn your bell notification on, and I'll see you guys in the next one.